This is a quick amateuristic review of a neat little program called Music Studio that you can get for an iPad. So my iPad is here in the viewer. The Music Studio is in two volumes. There's the light volume, the light edition, which doesn't cost you anything, and it has a few instruments in it. It's kind of neat to play around with a little bit. Then you have the Music Studio, the version you pay for, and that's the one I've been using here. So this is the Music Studio version you pay for. You have the keyboard. On the keyboard there's some neat things you can do. This is probably more closely resembles a traditional keyboard. You can stretch it to mean basically that when you pull it together to resize, you get more keys showing on the finder, which means you have a little bit larger reach with your hands. You can also resize it by expanding the width of the keys, and you can get to the stage where it's basically very much the same type of width that you would have with the traditional piano or an organ keyboard. Now this is good because if you're used to that spacing, then it makes it easier to play. The downside, of course, is you have no touch sensitivity, and it's really not like playing a traditional organ or piano keyboard. It's quite a bit different. You have a number of different instruments. It's loading them now. There are things like electronic pianos, grand pianos, drawbar organs, church organs, strings ensembles. There are brass sections. There's trombones. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Flutes, a number of flutes. There's guitars, acoustic, and so on. There's some bass stuff. It's really, really quite neat, I think. So what you can do, and this is what I did, was I recorded the music once. Then almost every single track after that, I just duplicated the music but changed the instrument to give it a more full, rich sound. So that's what you see here on the tracks. Now there are two tracks that I did that are different. So all of these coming down except the last two tracks are basically duplications. The electronic piano track here for track 8, where you see my finger running across, has just a few neat little notes thrown in, and you may hear those in the recording a little bit. Although I'm not recording directly from the iPad, it's coming through the air, so that tiny little speaker is not huge quality. Then what I did to throw in a bass, because I wanted something that was very, very deep for bass, because the rest was all melody, was I used a pipe organs. Pipe organs are notorious for having those rumbling bass, pipes in them. So that's what I used here. And you'll notice here, if you're able to see real closely, that there are very few notes compared to the others, and they're much longer. They're being held longer. Those are your bass notes in the bass section. So what I'll do then is give you this particular song. It's a religious hymn, and you can get a sense of what this is like to play, and a sense of what it sounds like coming through the tiny little speakers that are built in with an iPad. So here we go.